Hello all. I'm just going to do the last changes probably for the Karma Crew server, so I thought I would record it and give you all access to it, so whoever wants to pick it and run with it going forward can easily. First off, excuse the voice, I've got a stinking cold, my head's not good today, and I'm absolutely shattered, so yeah, let's just do this anyway. Let's get some music on while I do this. There we go. And a bit of Spotify, a bit of chill tunes. I'll start off, I'm just going to connect to Wicked server, the actual server PC. That'll come up on this screen. So this is the main desktop of the server PC. I'll just run through a few things. These are all the four different servers we've got running on the PC at the moment. And this basically just gives you a rundown of the current state of each server, FPS of the server, the priorities they have in running order. Yeah, we don't really need to touch those. That's just a console. This is the CF manager. This is what does all the hard work in the background. Nice and straightforward. We don't need to touch that. How you control the server is all online. These are the details for the four servers. This was my server, but I've given that up. Back to Wicked. Just haven't changed the naming of the folders. Vibes, you can probably tell by some of these logos. Vibes is the Wicked server he's just playing around with. Get used to this. Obviously Karma Crew server, and that's the Twat Nation event server. To access these files, you either just click in here, so that's the Twat Nation event server, Karma Crew, blah 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 blah. And folders next to them are just self-explanatory, they're backups. Don't worry about these two. So to edit all server details, I'll start easily. We'll go into Chrome. And on the server PC, there's either link here or link here. Both take you to the same place. And this is the server manager. So this is managers of four servers. Event server, Karma Crew, Vibes, and Twat Nation. From here you can shut down the server, get an overview of the server, etc, etc, etc. We'll go to Karma Crew. I'll tell you the CPU usage, the RAM usage, and the current server FPS, and backups, and how long the server's been up for. So it's been up for 2.5 hours because it's done the restarts. That's the only information in here. Actions, shut down, create backups. It automatically does all this anyway. Verify files if you ever have any issues with the server. Same as your game version. But this will reset everything back to complete vanilla. Server config, this way it gets a bit more meaty. Server name, how many slots the server has, current password. I've got that locked down at the moment while I make these changes. In-game admin password, don't need that because we've got a completely different system, as you know. Server time, the mission, and time acceleration. So we've got it on a 4-hour restart with time acceleration set to 3 and nighttime acceleration set to 5. When you do nighttime acceleration, you times it by this number as well. So the real nighttime acceleration is 15. And time persistence on, it's constantly, this time keeps on constantly running. Third person off, crosshair off, VoIP on. Save building states, doors, etc. That's turned off, so that when the server shuts down and the doors open, it will restart with that door open. With this turned off, it resets it back to server stock, so it's easier to tell if anyone's been in the area since the server restart. Storage auto fix, that's a DayZ issue. Debug monitor is, you've seen servers with the black details up here telling you your location and blah 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 blah. That does that. Force same mods, usually I'll have that turned on, but I've got it turned off at the moment because I've got the admin tools on there for us to use, but then other people can still join if they haven't got them. And for same game version, we want everyone to be on the same game version 1.03, blah 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 blah. Don't worry about this. Other details down here is guaranteed updates. You leave that to 1, so that means when there is an update it automatically searches and does the update for you. Log average FPS, don't worry about this one. Kind of explains things down the bottom here. This is where it keeps the log files. 5 players can queue concurrently. You can up that if you want, or lower it if you want. And this is the max players for queue 500. So leave this, you don't really need that. Verify signatures, don't worry about that. And the quality of voice over network VoIP is set to 20. That's the highest it can go. On here, don't really need to change anything apart from password if you want to perma lock it. Instance control, a bit meatier again. Auto start, so when the server restarts it automatically starts it back up. That's what we want. This is about logs, path to the logs. This is all preset, don't change any of this really. Backups, where it saves them, how often it does a backup. So this is in seconds how often it does a backup, and then they keep it for 14 days and then it deletes it, so if you ever have any issues. And we've got the schedule backup on. This recovers a persistent after crashes, so what it'll always do, it's automatically always taking backup, so if the server crashes it will already have a backup and it will restore to that backup. Restore persistence backup after each server start. That's turned off. It just makes it about another 2 minutes when the server restarts for the server to come up, so we do that. The game port, don't worry about this. Profiles, I'll explain a bit later. Executable, so that's the file it's going to launch, and these are different parameters I've put in. So we've got file patching because of the stamina, I'll explain that in a second. And allow screen write, I'll explain that in a second. That enables it to do logs and send the kill feed. Freeze check, so it's constantly checking if the server is frozen and it will sort itself out. And an admin log, so it logs all admin actions. Process, I've got Karma Crew elevated to the high, so that's the highest elevation, so that's the most important server on there, only because of player base. Don't worry about any of these. Disable auto updater, we've got that turned off, we want that on, so it self-manages. And this is the actual server information. Never touch any of this. Never send any of this. And this basically sends information to the developer. So if the server ever has any issues, he's notified of it and he can do things his end as well. And debug, don't worry about that. Back up the top, this is mods configuration. Instead, I've got the 2 admin mods on at the moment, so just easier to fly around and see what's happening. But you can add on any mods just by searching the name. Let's do Redux, and then you can get your weapon Redux mod in here. What you would do, let's do that again. Just, oh, I want to add that one. Add it here. Always have these 2 as the last one if you've got them on. Click save. Once the server restarts, it will load that mod back on. Load that mod onto the server. Done. Advanced. This is just what's happened. So at 2:07 server initialized, CFOP start requested, and it just runs through the logs. You don't really need to do that. So go to the dashboard. So the server's up and running. We want to shut it down. Confirm. Done. We'll wait. And it's shutting down the server. You'll notice that one of these has gone. These are the server instances here. And when it's done, come on. Come on. There you go. And now you can restart it if you wanted to. Close it off. Now to go to do the changes into Karma Crew, you've got all the DayZ files in here. The main ones you want to change for the Karma Crew server are in here. So MP missions, DayZ offline, storage, that's all the player data, database, types.xml, edit with Notepad++. This is your types. This is where you can change how many ACOGs are minimum on the server, the nominal number. Nominal should always be higher than the minimum. So when the server does a sweep and sees what's on the server, so it decides what's going to be spawned in, it will see how many are on. There's always got to be 15 minimum on, and then what it can spawn up to, 20. So if there's only 13 on the server, it would spawn another 2 to get up to the minimum, and then it's got an option to spawn another 5. That's what you really need to change. The higher the restock, the more likely it's going to add those additional 5 in. This tells you where the weapons spawn. It's a weapon and it spawns at military ACOG, so that will spawn at any military location. An ACOG will spawn at any military location. Let's go down and find something a bit more tasty. Let's just do this. Do SVD. So we've got here an SVD mag, minimum of 5 on the server, can spawn up to 10 with a decent chance of more, and it's going to spawn in military and only tier 4. So tier 1 is coastal areas, tier 4 is Helis, Northwest Apart and Tissy, and tiers 2 and 3 are areas in between. You can see an ump will spawn at military, tier 2 and tier 3, so that will do all the little military outposts, but it wouldn't do down on the coast, the coastal spawns. VSS, that's the mag again, will only spawn tier 4. Let's do landmine. Restock, it won't restock them, and we don't want landmines, so we want minimum 0 and nominal 0, etc, etc, etc. You can only do this when the server's stopped. That's why I stopped the server. So you go through and change it to what we want, how you want it. You have to look at individual items and change them individually, where you want them to spawn. So you've got the night vision optic here, will spawn in tier 2 and tier 4. We don't want that. So let's get rid of tier 2, and we want it to be tier 4 only. Don't you can make changes to this quite easily. As you see, I've just got rid of tier 4, but I could quite easily put that as, oh, I want it to spawn in tier 3 and tier 4. So you just see, I want that now to do military, tier 3 and tier 4. And it's got on shelves here because you want it to spawn on something. So it will spawn on a bed within the barracks, or it will spawn on a table, or you can have it spawn on the floor. So you can set exactly where you want it to spawn. Go through, change everything you want. So let's do search, find. I can't spell nail. So it's got nails. Nails box is what we want. This is default, what it was sort of spawn in as. Nominal 90, minimum 60. As we don't want base building, and you need nails for base building, do 0 and 0. Done. These will never spawn in game now. Then you would save that, and when the server restarts, it would run using this file. I'm not going to save it because I'm going to make the big changes later. So I'm not going to save that. Don't worry about that. That's my files. Also, what you want to do is CF spawnable types. Again, right click, edit with notepad. It opens up here. Now this is what a weapon or vehicle spawns with. I'll scroll down to the bottom. This is what the devs have got in for future reference. So the V3S cargo, blah 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 blah. All the different V3Ss, what they will spawn with, and the chance of it spawning. So this is a hatchback 02, the red Golf. So I've set it, as I've said in Discord the other day. Hatchback wheel 1. 1 is 100%. So you've got 100% chance of this spawning 100% of the time. Same. And then the last one, it doesn't spawn with. So it'll always spawn with 3 wheels, and the last one it won't spawn with. Attachments, 100% of the time. 33% of the time it'll spawn with a radiator. 33% of the time a spark plug. 33% with car battery. It's got a chance of spawning with headlights, and a chance of spawning with body panels. Unfortunately, in here you can't do anything with the oils and waters, etc. I haven't really looked into it, to tell you the truth, where they spawn, where those settings are. Same with the sedan, 3 wheels and 1 attachment. So it'll always spawn with 1 of these in there. Every now and then, possibly have 2. And same with the off-road. So it's separated vehicles underneath. Go to weapons. Top of weapons. End of weapons. Why is that there? This is why I might have made a mistake. This is where they've made changes. Oh no, that's Xmas. What you can find in them. So this is for future use. You can tell what weapons they're going to be putting in next, really, from this. So they're going to be putting in the Sega shotgun, Red 9, P1, Mark 2, Longhorn's coming back in fairly soon, Glock, FNX Arrow, that's just an upgraded version, the Desert Eagle, Engraved 1911, Colt 1911, Trumpet, Scout, the what did that used to be called? I can't remember what the rig used to be called. The Rack, Groza. I don't know whether they got the mousing in there. all the weapons due to come back in. Now these are the actual weapons. So you've got the FAL. We've set the spawning chance of it. In the other file in this, you want to be attachment chance. You want here your attachment chance. It's got a 0.2 of spawning, a 0.2 chance of spawning with a scope, but then a 0.2 chance of one of them. So if you wanted to spawn with a scope, change that to 1. You change that to 1.00, and then because there's 5 different scopes that can go on it, you change it to a 0.2 chance of each spawn on there, equaling 100. So every single time it'll spawn with a scope, but randomly mixed between one of those. At the moment, it will spawn with the always spawn with the default buttstock, but every now and then it's got a chance, very small chance, to spawn with the folding buttstock. Attachment chance, you want it to spawn always with a mag, change that to 1.0. Mag FAL 20 round, so now that will always, every FAL will spawn with a full mag, always. If you wanted a 50% chance, so not always, you change it to 50%. And you just go through and do all your different weapons. AKM, anything in green is something that they're going to change in future. So at the moment you can't get an FNX to spawn with a pistol suppressor for some strange reason. Let's roll up, and then you can do zombies. So zombie, jogger, skinny blue, food village, or tools village. It's got a chance of spawning with those. And if you scroll to the top, the firefighter zombies, it breaks it all down for you. Let's get to the top. Where's my mouse? There it is. It's difficult with 3 mods. You can change it. What a dry bag could spawn with. And again, you'd save it. I'm not going to do it because I'm going to do all the changes in a minute. And those are the 2 main files. When you're in here as well, go back to the base. I said about stamina, so stamina is changed. The only way to change stamina is, where is it? DTA is all these files. What you'd need to do unpack the scripts, open up scripts, world, is it? Is it game? I can't remember which one it is. Game and constants. Edit that with Notepad. Search, find stamina, and here's all your stamina settings. You change the orange figures to adjust stamina. What you'd need to do is then right click, cut this and paste it in here. When I was in here, let's go to Karma Crew server. Right. Oh, what's it? File patching and screen allow screen write. That's what those do. They allow the server to read from here instead of inside this packed folder. If you haven't got those, it won't do it, and nobody will be able to join the server. that's how stamina, you make stamina changes. There are other changes you can make inside here as well. But I haven't gone into those too much for the Karma Crew server. That's basically it. After you've made your changes and you saved them, what you might want to do is to wipe the server. So the best thing to do is to wipe the loot all over the server, delete those 2 files, and they'll be remade when the server restarts, and delete that folder. That will delete everything from the server. If you want to keep the player and what they have on them, the characters, I would advise copy that and place it in player backups. So that's the player backups from the 19th that I took before I've taken the server down. I will then, after I've made all the changes, I will go into, I'll delete that whole folder, start the server back up, that folder will be created, and then I'll paste the backup of players back in here, and the server will have the players still back on it. These 2 files basically just tell the server where loot should be spawned. So if you delete these 2 files, it will wipe everything and then recreate them with fresh loot. That's pretty much about it, guys. If there's anything I have missed, I'll be in constant convo with LJ anyway. Any questions, pass through him or just message me directly. I'm not on the Karma Crew Discord anymore. I have my reasons, but yeah, when you finish with the server, just so Wicked can get in there and do it once, because only one person can be in here at a time, just close it off. Done. Now Wicked can get on there and do what he wants to do. I don't know who's going to have access to that. He will possibly liaise with people to see who they want to do. But yeah, that's about it, guys. Didn't need this window in the end, did I? I did everything on here. But okay. Yep, that's about it, guys. You know where I am. Just give us a shout if you need anything. I'm just not going to be doing all the dirty work anymore. But I'm always around for any advice or questions or anything. Okay, love you, bye.